My friends, this is going to be a soul tribe reading. My throat is not doing well. I'm fine. But with Mercury being in retrograde, I'm having, when I do readings, I have a lot of hard times with my throat chakra. Um, anyway, I hope you guys are doing well. I've been going through it. I know I told you guys that. I feel like it started before Mercury was in retrograde. But a few past connections in my life have kind of resurfaced, and I've been trying to work on them and build better foundations, and heal things. One of them is my mother, which is like, I haven't talked to her yet. I haven't seen her yet, but I know that I'm very open with you guys about the fact that I'm estranged from my parents. And the door, like a year ago, I felt called to, reach out to my mom and say, if you're ready to have a healthy connection, I would love it for you to be a part of me and my kids' lives. And that didn't go over well. Anyway, a year later, there's an offer for a connection there, and I have to trust my intuition. My intuition is telling me to see if that connection is worth exploring now, especially for, my kids who do ask about their Nana. So I've been going through that and other things, and the last 2 days, I didn't really do readings because I really wasn't feeling energetically up to par to do readings. I feel like if I had come on to do a soul tribe reading yesterday, I probably just would have sat here and cried, which I know you guys would have been fine with. But I decided yesterday just to take a nap, and just to save my energy. The other thing I'm experiencing is an overabundance of like people's ego and fear when it comes to tarot readings and things like that. And that's been kind of lowering my vibration when it comes to doing these love readings, because there's this overwhelming energy of fear and ego in the air. And that, when I'm tapping into collective energy, that kind of takes me over. And sometimes I end up not doing a reading because of it. I'm not saying it's right. I wish it wasn't affecting me that way. And I'm learning, I've been learning for a long time different ways to ground my energy, protect my energy. It's a work in progress. But yeah, I feel like sometimes, I know I've seen other readers talk about it, about how there's, a bunch of naysayers out there, a bunch of lower vibrational energy trying to get us to dim our light, to stop sharing these messages. And I know that it's important to keep sharing them and to be, a beacon of light to others. But anyway, not that I know I don't owe you any explanations, but I just wanted to explain where I've been. And today I was feeling very energized and wanted to come on and do a soul tribe reading. We are going to read from the book because we're so close to being done. I think I'm more excited to be done the book than than anything. So we have how to write a personal mission statement because your vision can become your reality. I don't know how much this is going to tie in with the deck that I chose though. And then we have, I'm going to read 2 today. You're not going to realize you're blossoming, but it's going to happen anyway. So, and that's the thing, right? I always talk about how sometimes you can't see your own blossoming, your own glow up, your own growth until you take time to look back and compare yourself to a past version of yourself. I use the description of like when you have a kid or a puppy and you go away for like a week and you come back and you can see huge change in them. But it's harder to see that change in yourself when you're with yourself every day, feeling, the same way every day. Anyway, I'm not sure how much this tarot deck, or not tarot, this oracle deck that I picked for you, I am not sure how much it's going to tie in with that book, But the other day, I remember past lives came up, and I was talking about how I'm pretty sure I had a past life here and here and here. So I remember saying, I'm going to grab the past life oracle. So that's what I chose today. Again, I don't know. I need to read that. I don't know how this is all going to tie in, but I wanted to get it. So maybe you have some thoughts about your past life. Like, I already know. I'm just going to tell you because you're the only ones that will listen to me talk about past lives and not think that I'm Delulu. You know, when I talk about past lives with muggles, they're kind of like, oh, okay. But a few things that I think, I think in a past life, I was definitely involved in a war. I believe that I have past life ties in a few different places. I believe I have past life ties in Africa and India. And Ireland for sure. I also feel, I know this sounds weird, but a connection to like Little House on the Prairie times. So I've always been told, I've always been told that I would make it on Little House on the Prairie, or like the times of Little House on the Prairie, working on a farm. I don't know. Anyway, those are some of the things that I feel past life connections to. I don't know how I don't know how else to talk about that past life connection without the comparison of Little House on the Prairie. So take it as it resonates. But yeah, I've been told that anywhere you feel a strong connection to, or a culture you feel a strong connection to, is a good indication that you have, you know, some sort of past life connection there. Anyway, so those are mine. What are yours? I want to know. So yeah, as I was looking at this past life deck, as I was bringing it towards me in this reading, there's a card here that I felt really called to read. And it may not resonate with you, but I felt very called to read it because we have devotion here. And I was just talking about, you know, being devoted to being a light worker and understanding that there's going to be those lower vibrational energies trying to dim our lights. But we have spiritual practices and intuitive history. And I was just also talking about how I feel intuitively, like I have history in these places that I feel called to. So yeah, we have devotion. So I'm going, look, it's us. That's us having a party in a past life. I'm telling you, that's all of us right there having a party. Eating cookies and pizza. I just heard, and healthy food. So let's have a look here. I'm going to read this card because I felt very called to it. I'm just going to start a new video here. So, devotion. Though a few other cards signal intuitive past lives with varied spiritual pursuits, this card reveals a profoundly deep vein of spiritual history running persistently through your eternal life. In fact, your intuitive powers are in great expansion even now, and if you're not already working at this purpose, do not dismiss the possibility of great success and professional notoriety for your psychic skills. Whoa! Cool. Your path may have tended more to devotion than to prediction, however. You may have been a monk, a missionary, or a Vestal Virgin, I don't know how to pronounce that, assigned to keep the ceremonial fires burning. You could have, there goes my throat chakra again, so you could have something about communication, sharing your voice with others. It comes out all the time in soul tribe readings. I had to cough. So if you find yourself called to deep religious or philosophical I hate the way my brain works sometimes. Philosophy? That's all. I can't pronounce that word. Philosophy. Let yourself dive in. And if you've already been engaging in some spiritual practice in a half-hearted way, now is the time to devote yourself more deeply to these pursuits. This river of spiritual awareness is like life's blood for you. And this card compels you to make your faith and practice a core priority, a primary element of your daily focus. If this card is near Uriel, you may find yourself drawn to a career in mediumship. If it's near Raziel, however you pronounce that, you may become a professional reader of the Akashic records. And if it's near Metatron, you may become a biblical scholar. Interesting. And we have karmic shift here. It's time to get serious about how much spirit you allow into your life. You may doubt your abilities. I'm having goosebumps as I'm reading this. Oh, interesting. I'm having chills. You may doubt your abilities, or you may feel this is a frivolous diversion, but in the long span of your internal life, this is actually the most important task that moves through your soul's process. So start a daily practice of meditation and devote yourself to a deeper understanding. And your affirmation: I open myself to the depth of my spirit's wisdom and faith. The truth of all time vibrates within and around me. Interesting. So again, I felt the need to read that first and foremost. It wasn't on the bottom, but when I picked up, whoops, again, the deck is acting weird. When I picked up the deck, it fell, and I felt called to get it for you. So we'll have to see if any of those other cards come out. It was Metatron, Uriel, and Zed something. We have self-doubt here. I'm wondering if I should read that. Self-doubt's the worst. I'm wondering if I should read that. I'm going to read that. You know how I work. If intuitively my guides tell me to do it, I do it. If I touch it, then I have to talk about it. If I make eye contact. Oh, I opened right up to it. You can't tell me that's not meant to be. I opened right up. Blah, blah, blah. I opened right up to it. Mercury in retrograde, like I already have a hard time communicating. So, feelings of inadequacy. Excuse me, maybe stemming from your parents, your upbringing. Nearly everyone has had some kind of past life drama that has made them feel insecure. In most cases, this difficult experience comes from mistreatment by past life parents, and unfortunately, that pattern tends to repeat through many lifetimes. So if you've had hurtful, demanding, or dismissive parents or authority figures in this life, it's likely that you received the very same treatment in past lives. My gosh. Past lives, often by the very same people. So that's interesting. That's making me feel a whole lot right now. This negative energy becomes coded in your own self-view, causing you to criticize yourself, worry about what people think, and even loathe yourself for any number of reasons. This karmic pattern cannot stand. No matter how severely you've been treated, none of that misinformation represents your truth. It's time to clear this inner karmic darkness and return to the light of your true eternal value, power, and worthiness. You must choose this loving perception of yourself if you want to shed both the negative energy and the difficult consequences it brings. Karmic shift. Whenever a person comes in with hurtful or dismissive parents, the major life lesson is to learn how to love, accept, and encourage yourself. And we talk about reparenting ourselves all the time around here. You might never have been shown exactly how to do that, but now as an adult, you have the option and the power to learn. You are a valuable child of the universe. It says God, but some people, don't resonate with that. So I'll say the universe, God, spirit, whatever, the higher, whatever you believe in. And it's time to reclaim your eternal self-esteem. Yeah, it is. Release the untrue influences of the past and aggressively intervene on any self-criticism, even if you believe it to be true. Become your own loving parent and your own best friend. Let go of the old lies and know that you are worthy of your own self-love. And your affirmation, I release toxic conclusions from the past. I am free to choose what I believe about myself and the world. And I think it's interesting that I cut open to this card because we talk all the time here about this type of energy and about learning how to love ourselves and about, how important it is to love yourself, and how a lot of us wasted a lot of years not loving ourselves, perhaps because of past life experiences or because of our parents. I'm also finding, I've talked about it, that parenting my children in a way has helped me reparent myself. I often think when I'm being harsh with myself, I think, would I say that to my child? Well, then why am I saying it to myself? If someone's treating me a certain way, I think, would I allow that person to stand there and treat my child like that? Well, then why am I allowing them to treat me like this? Anyway, and I also believe it's very important to break those cycles. Like this is number 10, which has to do with cycles. And it's important to break that generational trauma. I am a firm believer in that. I believe that we can change the world, like healing one person healing at a time. Anyway. So let's see what wants to come out. Let's cut the deck. We have longing for love, loneliness. I have to read this. I have to read it because I looked at it. We have longing for love, loneliness, 20. So, interesting. I don't know what this is about, but we're about to find out together. I was just hearing too, like I was someone who longed for love my entire life because I didn't have self-love. So I spent my entire life longing to feel that love and not feeling it because I didn't feel it within myself. Even like longing for love from my parents. There can be many karmic causes for present loneliness. One may be past lives of chosen separation from others, such as cloistering. I don't know what that means. Or taking vows of celibacy. If your present longing is not attached to a specific individual, your past life choice to give up love is still haunting you today. If your longing is for a specific person, it speaks more to past life relationship trouble than to your personal choices. Perhaps you endured the rejection of unrequited love, or someone you loved left you. Even if your spouse died an earthly death, you could have spent the rest of that life missing that person and longing for their return. So if you meet someone and have an instant longing for them, even if you don't know them well, you need to know this may not be love at first sight. It could be an old issue of need, even desperation. And if you can't seem to get over a lost love in this life, it may be a powerful old emptiness filling your subtle memory. Even worse than being alone is the empty feeling of being with someone who doesn't care about you or prioritize you. In fact, the worst kind of loneliness is to be in a loveless relationship. Which is interesting. I don't know if you've been involved in a loveless relationship, but right underneath we have this card. Something is missing. So I'm not going to read it. I touched it, but I'm not going to read it unless it comes out again. But you could be someone who was, in a connection that felt loveless. Maybe it felt like something was missing. If you're staying in a lonely or loveless relationship, the karmic question is why. Your willingness to settle for disinterest from your partner only digs you deeper into that karmic hole, assuring that you'll come back to more loveless relationships of all kinds, often with the very same person. Your soul wants you to let go of the pattern of being without love, either alone or in an empty relationship. This karma can be reversed by first choosing to give yourself the love that you're longing for, then opening your heart to the truly loving partner that you deserve. Your affirmation: I let go of toxic longing and make my own self-love a priority. I attract a mutually loving, fully present partner who makes me a priority too. All right, so let's get on with shuffling, because none of that was shuffled. But I feel like it was there for a reason. So let's see what you need to hear. What does my soul tribe need to hear? I don't know what that card was, but it didn't come out. What does my soul tribe need to hear today? What does my soul tribe need to hear? We have community. That's us. Oh, I have to read the one on the bottom too. I can't help myself. We have community, personal or professional connections. I also feel like I had a past life right there. Look at that. When I was in school, like I think I've told you people, when I was in school, I can't remember anything about what I learned, except I remember learning about, I don't know the proper terminology anymore. Indigenous people, is that the right terminology? I don't want to offend anyone. I'm not here to offend anyone. If I offended you, I'm so sorry. For me, the terms that we use are constantly changing, like constantly changing. Even when it comes to like gender and sexuality and religion and like even autism, the terms we use are constantly changing. It used to be like, I'll just give you an example for autism. It used to be okay to say someone had Asperger's or someone was high functioning. And now it's considered like you shouldn't say that. Like to tell someone that, oh, you must have high functioning autism is, you're not supposed to say that. Anyway, another thing is in the autistic community, this is what I mean about not wanting to offend people. In the autistic community, some people, if you say you have autism, it's offensive because you don't actually have autism, you are autistic. That's what I mean. So I hope I didn't offend anyone, but I'm like Indigenous studies. Does that make sense? I was very into it. And I remember telling you people, I don't want to go like, anyway, I don't want to, sometimes I feel weird about saying you guys, even though I say you guys all the time. But I can remember learning about, you know, how they blessed animals before they ate them and that they used every scrap of their body, their fur, was used for shelter, for weapons, for food. Anyway, I don't know why I'm talking about this. Why do I talk about anything? 38. Let's keep going. It's on page 110 and 111. Magic. All right, so community. I'm talking about it because I'm with my community and I feel comfortable. Besides coming back with our friends and family, we also return with our business associates, religious groups, and others that share our interests. Many times it's because we have enjoyed these close connections, and we want to relive both the interests and the relationships. Sometimes, however, it's to work out old issues that have been left unfinished. For example, if you have some conflict with a boss or a coworker in this life, you've likely been through this before in some other form, either as the giver or the receiver of the problem. It's important to commune with others of like mind. That's us. Recognize the caring resonance of people in groups that you frequent. If there is an abrasive energy with an individual, release any toxic attachment from the past. Maintain your peace and power no matter whom you may be around. If the whole group doesn't seem to resonate with you, your karma may require you to move on. Harmonious connections lift your energy and create a more fluid and receptive alignment with the universe. Your soul desires these positive vibrations, so investigate some options of shared activity and connections. There may be some group karmic directive that is your destiny to fulfill. The power of multiple minds expands the consciousness and the intentions of people who come together with purpose and enjoyment. It blesses both your life and the energy of the world to join with kindred souls in happiness and high intentions. Karmic shift. Enjoy the groups you find yourself drawn to, and make sure you are there to honor yourself and follow your own preferences. If you can't find an established group that calls to you, create your own. That's what we did. Whether it's a meditation circle, a book club, or a hiking group, associate with honoring people who also want to learn, enjoy, and share their experiences. And your affirmation, I am attracting fun and supportive people to my life. I connect with the highest and best groups who share my interests and activities. And then the other one I grabbed, because I couldn't help myself, is service. Bringing value. So we're going to read this one too. Does anybody else think that looks like Angela from The Office? Except she's smiling too much. This card indicates past lives of serving and perhaps even saving others. Your desire to be of service has called you to assist others who were in need in some way. Your service could have manifested in a number of ways. Perhaps you are a nurse who followed combat units in the Civil War. Maybe that's what it was. Or maybe a superintendent at an orphanage. If this is near the devotion card, devotion. Is that the first card we read? I know somebody's like, yes, it was. That was what we read. But for some reason, I stuck it back in the deck. I think I stuck it back in the deck. Am I? I know some of you were like, yes, it was the devotion card, but my ego was second guessing it. It was the devotion card. So, where were we? Okay. If this is near the devotion card, you have had past lives where you brought value in the form of some religious service. Perhaps you are a monk who cared for the suffering residents of a leper colony, or a nun who provided food to impoverished people. If this card is near the caretaker card, your intention to bring value could have shifted and could still be shifting you out of balance. But it's important to know that you don't have to sacrifice the joy in your life to bring value to others. So continue to be conscious of your own needs as you consider and care for others. And be sure to balance your work time with some form of personal fulfillment or happiness on your time off. Karmic shift. A great sense of gratification can come from knowing that you've brought real value to someone's life. It can be a blessing if you find that gratification in how you make your living. But remember that energy expands from within. Bringing value starts with the self and then extends to your family, to your community, and then to the world. No matter what your past life patterns may be, you can now start to bring value to others in a balanced way. Whether you volunteer, donate your time, money, or emotional support, you could start a karmic momentum that will bring much more value back to you. Every day, I have an opportunity to bring some value to others. Every little act of kindness expands the energy of love and joy in the world and blesses us all. It's interesting because this service, it said if it comes out with the caretaker card, it was talking about like possibly overgiving and not remembering to give to yourself. So you could resonate with like Queen of Cups energy. Anyway, Let's get one more and then we'll read the book. One more. One more past life energy. Past life energy. We have relationship repeat. Shift, release, or enjoy. And it's 21, which is world energy, which talks about completion, cycles, patterns. So you could be stuck, I don't know what this card says, but you could be stuck in a relationship pattern with one person. You could keep attracting the same type of lesson in. You could, attract, and that doesn't just mean with lovers. You could be attracting this in friendship. You could be attracting whatever your dynamic was with your parents. You could be attracting that in. But let's have a look. 21. Shift, release, or enjoy. It's a common karmic pattern to return in soul groups, especially with family and friends. Though we may switch up relationships, sometimes being the wife, sometimes the husband, we are drawn together both by desires and by the lessons that our souls pursue. In fact, these are the two main reasons we choose our relationship paths. If we've had a deeply enjoyable relationship, we long to come back together and repeat those happy times. This is not limited to romantic partners. It could be an equally compelling karmic cause between friends, siblings, and even coworkers or teachers and students. When you have a relationship with someone who truly resonates with your heart, you can be sure you've been together in some meaningful way before. The other side of that karmic coin, however, may be far less enjoyable. We often come back with people who shared some of our difficult histories. Whether it was conflict or mistreatment, your soul wants to learn from those past problems and move on to a more enlightened, more empowered, and honoring way of doing relationships. Some of the most common lessons regarding this issue are learning how to speak up, live your truth, prioritize yourself, and stop living according to others' agendas. Your soul longs for you to muster up the courage to challenge these patterns now. Karmic shift. If you've had conflict with certain people in your life, you can learn how to break this difficult pattern. Communicate your needs and know that you have a right to make reasonable requests in all of your relationships. You don't have to relive the painful encounters of the past. Just because a relationship is karmic doesn't mean it's destined to last forever or even the rest of this lifetime. Sometimes we come back together just to learn how to let go. So release dishonoring connections and cherish the tender-hearted relationships in your life. Nurture caring communication, and talk about all the ways you can enjoy your time together. And your affirmation: I see the value in myself and in the people I love. I attract tender, eternal connections now and for lifetimes to come. Don't worry, we'll do this again next lifetime. We'll meet. We'll get together. We'll work it out. So, I honestly really enjoyed that deck, and I think that I might use it again for my next Soul Tribe reading. So I'm going to leave these cards face up. So hopefully I remember that we've already read them. So when I come back tomorrow to do another Soul Tribe reading, we can just pick up where we left off. All right, so we have this book to read from now. How to write a personal mission statement because your vision can become your reality. When it comes to building the life you want to live, most people try to design it backwards. Most people begin with what habits and routines they want to have each day, as opposed to what habits and routines they would need to start doing to get them to where they want to be in 5, 10, 15 years down the line. This is something we call reverse engineering. You have to understand what you want the final product to be before you're able to set all the parts in place to make it happen. That was my elbow. Sometimes my elbow rubs against this table and it sounds like a fart, but it's not. Where was I? In the same way that companies or schools need to write mission statements, so do you. You need to understand what you want the big overarching points of your life to be. Otherwise, you'll never really know what you're working towards. Your mission statement is different from your goals. Your goals are specific, time particular, measurable accomplishments that you want to achieve by a certain point. They are more rigid and generally work as sort of a ladder. Your goals should be incremental, and one should bring you to the next and then to the next. Your mission, however, should be what's at the top of that ladder. Your mission is not necessarily super particular. Rather, it can be more fluid, more general, and more descriptive of how you want to feel, not necessarily exactly what you want to do. Here's an example. I am completely at peace each day. I work 2 or 3 days a week consulting in a field that I am passionate about. I have more money than I need. I invest and save wisely, and I keep my living expenses low. I have healthy, loving relationships with my friends and family. I take care of my body and mind each day, and I am confident that I am leaving a positive impact on the world around me in everything from my daily interactions to the work that I am most proud of. Can we just all copy that? That sounds really good. I'll just write that down. Oh, here we go. Write that down on a piece of paper, post it beside your computer, fold it up, put it in your wallet, and keep it with you at all times. Your personal mission can help you in the following ways. Your personal mission can help you in the following ways. You can make better, more aligned decisions. Let's say you're trying to decide between taking a promotion or starting your own business. Or you're trying to decide whether you should buy a house where you are or move across the country. Or on an even smaller scale, you're trying to figure out how to cope with your frustrating relative. When you know what your long-term mission is, you can make these decisions from that perspective. This will help keep your life on track long-term. 2, you are writing a blueprint for your brain to adopt. When you can clearly visualize what your end goal is, you are giving your brain a sort of blueprint or map of what you want and need to do. Remember that so much of your life is habitual. So many of the things you do repeatedly, the things you crave, the things you feel comfortable with, are things you've conditioned yourself to prefer, to feel safe doing. You can rewrite these impulses by engaging in new habits and behaviors over time, even though they might feel uncomfortable in the beginning. 3, you create your own certainty. More than anything, your personal mission gives you a sense of certainty and stability in a largely chaotic and unpredictable world. It reminds you of what you want to do, who you want to be, and where your priorities need to rest, when it often seems like everyone is trying to pull your attention in every direction. There are questions you want to ask yourself to build your own mission. So we can't just copy that? What is it that you want to feel each day? What do you want to be most proud of by your life's end? What work do you want to do each day? How do you want to be remembered? How do you want to impact others? How comfortably do you need to live in order to feel whole? Where do you want to spend your days? What do you want your relationships to be like? What do you want your bank account to look like? What do you want your closet to look like? What do you want your home to look like? And you can just keep riffing from there. Remember that first, your mission need not be realistic given where you are right now, because you are going to need to think outside your current circumstances to change your reality. Second, don't expect everything to change instantly. Your life is going to be Your life is going to be a gradual, constant unfolding. Third, remember that your mission can change as you do. You are allowed to grow, you are allowed to choose again, and you are not beholden to anything you once thought you wanted. Be free enough to decide who you are and what you really want. So, the next one, the next chapter. You're not going to realize you're blossoming, but it's going to happen anyway. You probably won't recognize the moment you start to change yourself. You probably won't know the day you meet someone who alters the course of your life forever. You might not immediately see the gifts of being brave enough to choose your future self over your current fears, but it's going to happen anyway. You're going to blossom anyway because that's what you were designed to do. All of that resistance, that fear, that denial, it's growing pains. It's part of the process. You're going to be happy and hurting and healing all at the same time. You're going to see places you never thought you'd see and still find yourself gravitating to the old ones you thought you couldn't get away from fast enough. You're going to accomplish feats so big and brave you never even dared to dream of them, and you're going to wrestle the same tiny demons that have followed you your whole life. You're going to meet someone who makes you feel more at peace than ever before, and they're also going to shine a bright light on every part you've tried so hard to hide. Becoming who we are is not a steady, linear ascent into happiness. We don't grow in only one direction. When our lives go bigger, they go outward. We touch more, we feel more, we know more, we see more, we become more. When we have more to lose, we get scared. When we have to leave our comfort zones, we crave familiarity. Familiarity, I can't say that word. No accomplishment, no relationship, no city, no job excuses us from being human. Nothing is going to exempt us from feeling grief when we are sad, anger when we have been dealt an unfair hand, or resentment when we've done too much and received too little. This doesn't mean we aren't getting better. This doesn't mean we've backpedaled or that we're regressing into our old habits. Sometimes the ability to feel things we haven't thought of in years is the healing. Sometimes the willingness to cry at something simple and beautiful is the reckoning. Sometimes befriending ourselves is the most important step of all. In nature, nothing transforms without breaking first. Flowers can't bloom until they're deeply, wholly rooted. Seasons can't turn until the cold has come and killed off the remnants of the past. Butterflies don't spread their wings before being cocooned up in isolation for weeks, and stars don't become supernovas before facing their own implosion. Our greatest growth often comes just after we've looked our deepest fear in the eye. Our most profound advancements are only made possible by the willingness to try and to fail. When we have nothing to lose, we have everything to gain. I'm just checking the time to make sure it's not going to cut me off. When our hearts are broken, we don't want to be who we once were. Wait. Yeah, I said that right. We are free to become who we've always wanted. When our dreams are dashed and the future is uncertain, we are no longer beholden to the plan we made for the person we used to be. When something doesn't work out the way we thought, it's almost always because we aren't as good at it as we thought. We don't love it as much as we thought. It wasn't as good for us as we thought. Becoming is not glamorous. It is not fun. They call it a glow up, right? It's not glowy or glamorous. It requires diverging from the easy path, leaving the safe trajectory, risking everything, trying anything. You will blossom in the moments you are most convinced you are failing and falling behind. When you are jolted awake by your own life, you are on the brink of a personal revolution. It won't be easy and it won't be beautiful, but you'll get to the other side and realize that all along there was a reason, there was a rhythm, there was a plan, there was a destination. You were becoming the person you were always meant to be, even if you didn't realize it at the time. You were growing through the very things you thought were sent to push you off track. They were, in fact, the ones bringing you back on. So the next chapter is a little bit longer, and I'm not going to read it today. 7 thought patterns that are keeping you stuck in a life you don't want. Interesting. Look at me peeking ahead. I'm sorry. I'm not going to peek ahead. I'm sorry. Anyway, so that's the next chapter that we'll read. And I'm going to come do that tomorrow because on Friday, I'm reuniting with my mother. And I don't know if I don't know what kind of, I don't know how that's gonna go. So tomorrow I'll come do a soul tribe reading. Because again, I know on Friday I can't guarantee that I will be in the right frame of mind. Okay, so we already read, I'm just gonna keep these ones aside. Yes, we'll keep these ones aside. And I want to get you some new affirmations. And maybe you didn't watch the last reading, but the last reading I did, we got a stack of affirmations. So I just want to get you some new ones for this reading. So satisfying. So let's see what affirmation you need to hear from this magical deck. We have individuality. I'm just showing you the picture. I know you can't read the words. Individuality. I delight in being my own person. Though I am indelibly connected to my parents, siblings, cousins, children, cats, dogs, sea monkeys, I see the beauty in being my own unique and sometimes crazy self. It's all right if my near or far and mostly dear ones don't always understand me. To be honest, I kind of take it as a compliment. You could be someone who resonates with being the black sheep of your family or being the odd person out, like feeling like, you know, the odd person out. Anyway, let's see what affirmations you need to hear. We have rest, limits. Oh, we have a theme. And depth. That came out while I was shuffling, but I didn't mention it. As new people show up in my life, I look for all the weird, wonderful, complex layers below their surface. I can't be surprised by someone's depth of character unless I'm willing to peel back the outer layers and go a little deeper. It's like the brand new saying goes, don't judge an onion by its haircut. This deck is so funny. Don't judge an onion by its haircut. It's interesting. Usually it's like almost 4 o'clock here. And usually, you know, in the past couple weeks when I've been doing soul tribe readings around this time, it's very dark and gloomy. But for some reason today, the sun is reflecting off my curtain and it's making it seem a lot brighter than it is in here. I like it. Limits. It's fun to be a yes person, but not when the yeses are maybe Let me try again. It's fun to be a yes person, but not when the yeses are maybe responsible for my suddenly having no time, patience, or clean underwear. So I hereby declare that yes, I am sometimes allowed to say no. I know what I can handle. And I just have to show you guys this. I know it's backwards, but they've highlighted all the NOs in every word. I know what I can handle, and no, nothing is going to fall apart if I nobly admit that I'm not able to add another dang thing to my looming pile of now stuff. And yes, I would like a nap. Thank you for asking. And then we have rest. I take a step away from my stress and then take a deep breath and then a crankiness killing nap. When I get the rest I need, I instantly become a better version of myself, able to navigate complex relationships in a single bound. When I don't, I'm not, which means I shouldn't, but I try to, and then we can't, and it doesn't. But I did, so it wasn't. Good night. Cute. I really like this deck. You see how the reflection is like illuminating? I think it's illuminating the yellow paint on my walls and it's just making everything glow. Maybe that's a good sign. Because last week, by now, I would have had to turn my light on. We have care. I care about feelings, both my own and everyone else's, so I choose to use care when speaking to people, especially those with whom I share DNA or a bidet. Care means I'll try not to accidentally make anyone feel bad, which means I won't accidentally feel worse. Then no one will have to try and figure out what accidentally happened when we accidentally spoke like accidental monsters. Oh my gosh, I like that card. I might take a picture of that card. I am. I'm going to set it aside for myself to take a picture of it. Peacefulness. I have a peaceful, tranquil, and untroubled heart. This is where I choose to spend my time. I can bring guests, but any person, thought, or event that brings drama or chaos is not invited. My heart is a special property, and I'm going to keep it that way so that we can all keep enjoying it and I can get my security deposit back. And we have power. I am strong. I am grounded. I am powerful. I am like a cross between a dinosaur and a tank, but not a tank that is used for war. I am like a peaceful, loving dino tank who feels so strong it doesn't need to do anything but be. I'm just going to take the one off the top because I feel called to. No judgment. Anyway, every time I do a soul tribe reading, my friend Michelle messages me. Today is no different. I release myself from any and all judgments. I find my inner critic, call it into my office, and tell it to take a vacation. As it leaves the room, I let out a sigh and begin to enjoy the joy of simply being. Who hired that guy anyway? So my friends, I'm going to leave it here for today. Thank you for sharing your energy with me. Thank you for spending your time with me and listening to me read and ramble. I love you all, and I will see you tomorrow. I hope you all have a wonderful night. Take care of yourselves. Drink some water. Love yourselves. Be gentle with yourselves. And yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye, friends.